This is Generation Stadia, giving you that dose of everything and anything cloud gaming related, and today I want to have a bit of a discussion. It should come to no one's surprise, but the biggest news of the week has to be the fact that Microsoft outright purchased Bethesda for $7.5 billion. That's a whole lot of money, and to put it into perspective, Disney paid $4 billion apiece for both Marvel and Lucasfilms. It really does show you just how much money is being made in the video game industry today, but that's a whole other topic for another day. Let's get back to the topic at hand, and it's about this acquisition, because it's definitely raised some concerns for not just Stadia fans, but PlayStation fans as well. Many are questioning whether or not they're ever gonna see future Bethesda titles on their platform of choice ever again. And to be perfectly fair, that's a very valid concern, considering just how many big named IPs Bethesda owns. We're talking huge IPs like Wolfenstein, The Elder Scrolls, Fallout, and Doom. The last of which is one of the top runners for Game of the Year in my opinion. All the talent responsible for those games are quite a big grab too. There are a total of 7 different studios that got acquired with this deal. The 7 of which are Arcane Studios, Machine Games, ZeniMax Online, Bethesda Game Studios, id, TangoWorks, AlphaDog Games, and Roundhouse Studios. Now, with all that into consideration, should we say farewell to the chances of these games ever appearing on the PlayStation 5, Stadia, or other platforms not owned by Microsoft? Well, no, at least not yet. Chances are you're still going to see some Bethesda titles get ported over to other platforms outside of Microsoft's ecosystem. But don't get me wrong there. I'm not saying you're going to be guaranteed access to Starfield, Fallout 5, and whatever the next Doom is called. All I'm really saying is that games that make sense to bring over are gonna be brought over, and I'm talking about things like their MMOs or games that rely heavily on microtransactions. A good example of this is The Elder Scrolls Online. I'm sure that they're continuing work on it and that there probably are future expansions in store, and I fully expect them to be released wherever that game is playable. Another great example would be Fallout 76, the type of game that gets consistently updated but you're encouraged to pay real-world money for in-game transactions. Don't believe that's the case? Well, take this quote directly from Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella. When we think about strategy, whether it's in gaming or any other part of Microsoft, each layer has to stand on its own for what it brings. When we talk about our content, we want our content to be broadly available. This was his statement directly after being questioned whether or not games would be releasing on other platforms in the future. This is directly after Phil Spencer stated that they'll be taking a look at other consoles on a case-by-case basis for future releases. Both of these statements, by the way, are available in the Bloomberg article they came from, which I'll be sure to link in the description below. So with that said, it should be pretty clear that they're not opposed to bringing Bethesda titles over to other platforms. And honestly, I wouldn't be too shocked to see a big game like The Elder Scrolls 6 or even Starfield make its way to PlayStation. At the end of the day, Microsoft is a business first and foremost, and I'm sure that they want to try and recuperate the cost of that purchase as soon as possible. And saying no to all that extra revenue from one of the biggest selling franchises of all time is pretty hard to do. You can take a look at the way that they handle Minecraft. While they now own that IP, they actually allow it on multiple platforms due to the sheer size of it. But I do think that eventually, yeah, future titles will not be available elsewhere once they felt that they've recuperated enough of the cost. I will note though, I do think this is the end of Bethesda games showing up on Stadia, and I'm talking about future releases. I totally expect any expansions for The Elder Scrolls Online to make their way, but it just seems pretty logical that xCloud wants to take over the streaming landscape. Not only that, but I also don't believe Stadia's current user base is big enough or tempting enough for Microsoft to bother trying to port the game over. I feel that from their end, it just makes more sense to keep those huge titles as stream exclusives rather than console exclusives. And speaking of game streaming, there's something that's pretty important to it that Microsoft acquired from Bethesda's acquisition, and I'm talking about their Project Orion. This technology is focused on enhancing the experience of a streamed game. Much like Xbox game streaming, Stadia and other companies work hard to provide you with good hardware on the server side to reduce latency on your end, Orion takes it a step further and tries to lower latency from the software end. It also comes with the added benefit of using less bandwidth. It is important to mention that Orion doesn't make game streaming possible. Many of us are already playing games really well at that. Rather, the main goal behind it is to actually improve the gameplay experience even further. I have little to no doubt that Microsoft will be working hard on incorporating this into the Xbox game streaming system. It'll also be very interesting to see if they end up licensing this to other companies who want to buy it from them. But with all of that out of the way, I now want to ask you for your opinion. Do you think Bethesda games will show up on other platforms in the future? If so, let me know why in the comments section below and to what extent you think they'll actually be showing up. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful at all, consider hitting that like button as it really does help the channel out, and if you're wanting more content like this, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell as well. Today's end of video message is just going to be a quick heads up that I will be doing sort of a part 2 to this video discussing on whether or not other companies need to react to this news. It's been a bit of a hot topic within the Stadia community and I'd like to address it in its own video. If you have any opinions on said topic, do let me know in the comments section below. I may even highlight it in the next video. Either way, that's all I have for you today. Thank you for watching. This has been Generation Stadia, giving you that dose of everything and anything cloud gaming related. The Gen S community is over 4,900 strong and growing by the day, and until next time, I'll catch you in the clouds.